Can't believe you scheduled it at 11 o'clock and didn't tell people, Johnny. Dang.
Dude, man. Cooksey. All right, so we've got a little bit of background stuff. I made a mistake again. It says 11. Everyone on the chat is like, what the heck is Hopper doing? Doesn't he know what time zone everything it is? It is actually noon Pacific time, but the schedule was wrong on YouTube. So there's people sitting in the chat room for way too long. That's on me. It's not on you. I am sorry, sincerely. But we've got a good show planned. I know the press conference has just ended or is going to end here soon. Anyway, they schedules conflicted. Of course, they didn't want to go over this show. It doesn't even matter. We're so small, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I've got Cheyenne Harmon with us, writer, and he's got some sponsorship opportunities that I do want to get out to everybody so that they can see if they want to help a writer out. And then we've got Cooksey. Coach is on a plane right now, and it's interesting. The guy just had a heart attack, and now he's back up at 18,000 feet. So everyone pray for Coach. But Cheyenne, how are you doing? I hear some background noise going on there. It looks like you're outside.
No, I'm actually at my buddy. He has a brewery called Tall Trellis, just outside Kansas City. I'm actually up in Kansas for one of my good friends' wedding this weekend. So he has loaned me this room all by myself to do this with y'all in.
Hey,
so
well, we appreciate it. And we're going to obviously talk about the whole warning from Jett and everything that's going on with super motocross. But from the get-go, I wanted to share everybody, and you can go over this even more too. If I can bring it up here live from what I've got going on, if I share my screen. So you've got some sponsorship opportunities with, move it over here, where this is per race, correct? That you're going to have. You've got a bronze, silver, gold, and platinum to sponsor you for. Are you doing arena cross this year, or are you going for the supercross?
Yeah, so I'm going to do the first 2 to 3 rounds of arena cross because they're in November and December. They're obviously great warm-up races, a good way to make some extra money, and just a good way to just get myself going in race shape and see where we're at. But this year, I decided the next step of my career is to go full 450 and ride all 17 races. So pretty much soon as I left Denver Supercross, which was my last Supercross of last year, I pretty much made the decision that I was going to go full 450 this year. And starting then, I started putting together my program. I got some support through Yamaha, through a dealership in Texas called Lone Star Yamaha, who's going to be helping me with my bikes. And I decided to take a lot of things that I've learned over the last several years of racing with other teams and sponsors and other riders and whatnot. And I'm going to bring, instead of going after one sponsor for, 50,000, 100,000, whatever it may be, I'm going to try to sell title sponsor packages per individual race. So for one race, your company, whether you want to do your company or just something funny, whatever, it may be, something maybe you're wanting to promote, one race, you don't just get a sticker slapped on the shroud. We're going to do full custom liveries for each individual race. So let's just say Coca-Cola came on board. Obviously, that's very unlikely happening. You're going to know it's a Coca-Cola bike. It is going to be a full custom livery. There's an option in there in the platinum package where it'll have a matching helmet wrap as well. So, and it's at a very affordable price for what you get out of it. And, I know TV packages for a small billboard are pretty expensive. And,
yeah,
right
here
there,
you have just for a 5-second deal, $2,500. Sorry, Cheyenne, I interrupted you so that the program will all of a sudden show my screen. Because if I'm talking, it'll show the screen so that this is what you sent to me previously saying, and then here's the packages that we have. It starts off at $1,500 per race for $3,000 a race. And dude, I think it's an awesome idea for you. Plus what Arena Cross is doing with their, where you can almost bet on your rider to motivate and everything.
Yeah, so that's the kicker series, so to say. The first few rounds I'll be doing will be the General Tire Arena Cross series. They're a little more central to me. And last year that was the series I was racing, battling Michael Hicks for championship who we know is probably the top arena cross guy in the nation right now. So yeah, I'm going to do the first few of those, but like I said, my main focus is all 17 rounds. And I figured this is something cool. I do have a few companies already that are on board that are going to do some of these races, and the bikes we're going to do, they're going to be full custom. Turbis is on board with doing cool plastics, and my graphics guy, Chase at Imagine Design Co. We've been working on this for months already, and we're going to do some really cool stuff. And also the cool thing is after the race, if your company or whatever it is you're sponsoring, after the race, you get my signed jersey I wore, and you get a signed set of the shrouds with your logo on it. And if you come to that race, we'll make sure you get passes and whatnot. But it's a great way for somebody to advertise. It helps me out a ton to put into my program and get to the races where I can do things a little more proper and put a little more into what I'm doing with, whether it's putting into my bike to get some better parts or into my training. It's all a big help, but in the end, I'm still giving back a lot to that company. We're planning on doing YouTube vlogs, which, those can be a hit. Then social media. And then on top of that, you got, 30,000 people each round come through the pits. And then, 50 to 60,000 people per race on live TV. So for the price, it's a very, very affordable package for companies, I feel, and it helps me out a ton.
And how you can contact Cheyenne is right here, Cheyenne Harmon at yahoo.com, or his number 817-454-5217. Dude, I will push this out onto some of my social platforms too, because whatever the community can do to help you, we definitely want to help you, and we want to see you up front racing in the main event. So thank you, Cheyenne. And I always appreciate having you on board the show as well, because this is definitely the shit show. Cooksey, do you want to?
Hey, can you make sure to send that to me so I can get that up on my social platforms as well? I think that's a great idea, Cheyenne. Like, that's something, it's unique. It's you taking your career into your own hands, and I love it, man. So I hope it works out and you get some sponsors and get this thing cranking.
Yeah, thank you. And, I always put my all into racing. This last year was tough. As y'all know, I had a pretty big injury at the beginning of the year. I was back racing 7 weeks after breaking my leg and tearing my ACL, just to be out there for the sponsors, for the team I was with. And but this year I'm really trying to really go the extra mile and invest in every aspect of my program with bike, suspension, training. I'm working with Coach Robb now as well. So I'm really looking for this to hopefully be a career year.
That's funny. I was about to ask, are you working with Coach Robb? Because I don't think there's a better physiologist as far as prepping you with your mind, your body to just be ready and strong and durable. So yeah, take advantage of that. And yeah, dude's a savage.
For sure.
How old are you nowadays, Cheyenne?
I just turned 27 in June.
Nowadays, like, it changes.
Can I ask you a personal question? And you can always plead the fifth. Okay. I remember when I was racing, and right around when I was turning 26, dude, when I was going down to local auto shops or trying to ask for sponsorship money, they're like, dude, you're a grown ass man. Like, why are you continuing to do this? And like, people they don't understand the level of professionalism that goes into racing bikes. It seems to most people, it feels like a hobby, but in order to do it like you're doing it, it is a full-blown 100% job, and not getting anything back from it is just what keeps you motivated. And is this your last year? Do you have what are you thinking as you're growing up? Honestly.
So, it's funny, I think if it was about 10, 15 years ago, 27, 28 is about the age where you're kind of starting to fizzle out. And I feel like now we're starting to see guys in 28, 29, 30 starting to get into some of the best years of the career. So I think I still have a lot of good years ahead. And I hope to be able, God willing, to do this for many more years. This year, I'm going fully in with it. And again, I always go give it my best, but this year I'm trying to leave no stone unturned. And, it's what I've done my whole life. My whole life has been from the time I was pretty much born. I've been around racing. It's what I know. And it's kind of like when people get out of college, it's like, okay, what do I want to do? What am I good at? Well, I'm okay. I guess I'm okay at racing, but I've also learned a lot of business skills from this. And I think there's a lot of opportunities when I'm done racing within the industry that hopefully will present themselves. But for now, I have a lot of goals. I believe in myself. If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't be out there and putting myself through what we do. And at the same time, I do make a living racing my motorcycle. It is how I pay my rent. It's how I pay my car insurance, pay my truck payment, pay for my food. I make a living racing my dirt bike, and it is all possible through great people helping me out with sponsors, and where I'm able to take the money that I make racing, and that is basically my salary, so to say. And I saw somebody comment on here something about Chief fans getting into the beer. This Tall Trellis Brew company I'm at is right outside Kansas City, so make sure you come check them out. But yeah, no, I love what I do. It is very tough and challenging. There's been a lot of times where even here recently, I've been faced with some challenges, and it's like, man, but I really believe in my abilities. I don't think I've got to fully show them. I think I've got to show some glimpses of what I'm capable of. And that's why this year I'm trying to go at it with everything I got, then some, because I believe I can be where I want to be. So
17 full rounds. What's the goal? Are we just looking to get in the 450 mains? Is there what are we shooting for, Cheyenne?
Well, it's always easy to sit here and say, well, that's where I think it should be, right? My goal to start the season is just to see where I'm at. I believe that I have the capability of being that top 20 guy every weekend, kind of how Grant Harlan, he's had a great year, and he's been somebody that we've, he's a Texas guy, me, him, Oldenburg, John Short, Ryder Floyd, Henry Miller, we all have a group, we all ride together. So I know where I should be at, and where I feel like I should be at. And, seeing Grant do so well, he's riding awesome, and I'm very happy for him. But it also gives me some motivation and hope too. It's like, well, if Grant can be there, then I have a chance of being there as well. So I think I can be a consistent main event guy this year with the things that I'm trying to do and put into it. So that's kind of my goal, is to just try to be that be that guy that's in the main event or knocking on that main event door every weekend in the 450 class, and just build from there.
So let's say the Supercross season goes better than expected. You have some points. You look like you could make the SMX playoffs. Are you going to go outdoors and try and get some points?
If that's what it takes, absolutely. Yeah, that is one of my goals, is to be racing in those playoffs next year. I've already been saying that, and as you see it on TV, it's like, yeah, that's real. I want to be there. So that's definitely one of the things in my goal to be there.
Did it surprise you that the tracks were like a true hybrid and not just like a big Supercross track?
The first round didn't really surprise me. Second round surprised me. I guess it surprised everyone, right?
Yeah.
I was expecting it to. I was really just expecting the tracks just kind of be how Atlanta and Daytona were, and I think Charlotte was kind of more on that baseline of what Atlanta is kind of like, a little bit without the whoops. If you would have thrown a whoop section in that track, it would have just been another Supercross track, right? That we would have seen.
I don't know, man. It only had one Supercross rhythm, and everything else was outdoorsy.
Yeah, but look at
it was pretty close to Daytona without the whoops, though.
Well, look at Atlanta this last year. There was a lot of outdoorsy stuff on that track as well.
True,
but obviously there was a little more Supercross. So Atlanta, Charlotte didn't really surprise me so much. Chicago, that was a dang near full outdoor. It honestly reminded me of some of these fair races and money races we do. The way that the track was and kind of turned out to be.
Yeah, very cool.
No, dude, I really hope that we see you in the playoff rounds, because you guys deserve to get that dough for sure. And how do you feel about these Super Motocross playoff rounds? It being, for one, 2 motos, and 2, it being like a typical old school, like amateur rules, where second moto breaks the tie. It's not 25 points for Moto 1, 25 points for Moto 2. It's just overall. How do you feel about that? And obviously not having a whoop section. Not having a whoop section makes it seem like, I know whoops there are one of those things where it's set up and it's balls.
I mean, essentially, it's just like a monster cup in a way, is what everybody keeps saying. In a way, everybody talks about we're needing change and this and that. Well, I mean, this is quite a bit of change. I mean, you're going to see 2 20-minute motos on a supercross track tomorrow. Let's just face it, the LA Coliseum is a supercross track without whoops. And I think I even saw on the track map that there's a tiny little dragon's back. So I don't know, but
there's a little right.
Yeah, a little dragon's back to, with no landing basically.
But I mean, down all in here, this looks like a bunch of sand going back and forth.
But I mean, you're going to see 2 20-minute motos on it compared to, 3 10-lap mains. So it's definitely interesting, and it is different. I mean, I think everybody's agreed to that even that has raced it this is a little bit different than what we thought.
So if you were racing it, would you be going moto suspension or supercross suspension? I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but just for everyone in the chat.
Yeah. First round, I definitely would have ran a supercross setup, potentially a little softer. And I think Chicago, you could have got away with a soft supercross setup, I feel like, just because of the way the jumps were. And I don't know. I mean, it's always different watching on TV than in person. That would have been hard to say. I think I would have probably gone with the softer supercross setup for just the jumps, because they were, pretty peaky, and they looked like they were kind of soft as well. So I don't know. That would have been a toss-up. I can't even say on that. And obviously, LA Coliseum, everything I've seen so far, even from a few videos the guys riding this morning, I would have definitely been on a supercross setup. Potentially, maybe a little bit softer, but probably stiffer than what I would have ran at Charlotte, if I had to guess what I would have ran.
Backing up, what did you feel about the super minis at Chicago with some of those big doubles?
Yeah, I mean, I think those kids are pretty gnarly. Those are some big jumps. I hope everybody that got hurt was all right, but Monster Cup would have had, Monster Cup had some pretty big jumps as well, and they ran the super minis there. I think what really caught everybody is that, black dirt, when it gets a little bit wet, it gets super sticky. And you probably know this coming from Colorado, because y'all got a lot of black dirt up there. In Texas, we got a lot of black dirt. So when that stuff gets so sticky, when those guys were casing, I mean, dude, they were just like, it was sticking them. And I think that's what was making them crash, where if it had been drier, I don't think you would have seen all those crashes. But yeah, those kids are pretty gnarly. And I think it also goes to show how good super minis are nowadays compared to, 15 years ago.
Yeah, well, it's like we're gonna see those guys in the 250 class in like what, 2 years? I mean, it's not very long these days.
Yeah, I got a bunch of. Sorry, Cheyenne. I got a bunch of DMs from guys going like, why are they having 85s out there? Like, no kid is going to go buy a bike. No parent's going to go buy a bike and put their kid out here. And the thing that people need to understand is this was an invite only for these guys. So these were the top level 85 guys racing this top level track. It wasn't just a normal kid that had an 85 that's out there trying to do this stuff. And that's, again, why I feel like potentially here, Cheyenne, I'm going to throw you probably somewhat of offensive question. That's why I feel the privateer, unfortunately, is getting ready to be less and less, because we're having more of these events where it's invite only, with the Combine and the Supercross, with the Supercross Futures, with all this being invite only on stuff. Like, do you think that the privateers are becoming less and less, where it's just like, hey, you're a local guy that has a pro license, you can just sign up, where you're going to have to get on somewhat of a satellite team in order to race these races? How do you feel about that? Like, if your premonition 5-10 years from now, do you think there's still a privateer?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would say so. Yeah. At the end of the day, this is what we choose to do, right? A lot of guys give the whole woe me, I'm out here struggling. Yeah, it is a little bit of a struggle at times, but at the end of the day, this is what we choose to do. And I think at the end of the day, it's just like, for me, like, I'm seeing time where things are going. It's like, you know what? If this is what I want to continue doing, I'm going to have to step my game up some more. And that's why I'm kind of doing the program the way I'm doing it and trying to invest in the right areas and put it all in because, to be in those playoffs, you got to be, top 30 to get there. But if you want to be seeded in, you got to be top 20. So I got to step my game up. And I think there's a lot of other guys too who are seeing that. They're going to step their game up. And I think what it's going to end up doing is probably weeding out the guys who aren't so serious about it, that are maybe just there to get in the night show, to the guys that are really, like me, like I'm not there to just be a night show. I'm there to race. I want to get results. The money is great, obviously, and money is what funds us going racing. But I want results. That's just how I was raised. That's how I've always been my whole life.
Well, I'm talking about like it evolving to the point where it might end up helping you to where there's physically a stock class where you're not having to compete against these teams that have R&D that are just there's no way that it's ever going to.
Yeah, I don't ever see there being a privateer or a stock class for us. I don't ever see that being
okay.
It would be awesome. Johnny's been beating that drum for a long time, and I totally agree with you.
Well, you agree with me or you agree with Cheyenne?
I agree with you that there should be, and I also agree with Cheyenne that there won't be.
Let me throw this curveball at you. Everything's going to be going electric, whether we like it or not.
Dude, finally, somebody else.
Hold on, let him make his point.
Hold on. Metaverse hug. Finally, I get so much shit on the internet.
Just let him finish, Johnny.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm
I
listening.
really want to know what he was saying, Johnny. Okay, electric.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm all about the gas. I hope it stays that way. But it seems, with Kawasaki making a press release saying by 2035 they're going to go all electric, and you got Star coming out. I'm here. I'm going to get a chance to ride that bike through, the dealership, Lone Star Yamaha that's helping me out. They're getting it in, so I'm going to get a chance to ride it. And whether we like it or not, that's going to be what it is. So does that even the field out where it's kind of, I think at that point, like a start, I don't know, but I think the only real modifications you can make are your suspension and your chassis maybe. So is going electric what evens things out? I don't know. But at the end of the day, you got to remember, dude, these guys that are top 15, top 20, dude, you put Jett on a stock bike with some suspension, he's still going to finish in the top 5, 10. These guys are great athletes and great riders. Where I think stuff like better suspension, better chassis parts, better motor. Now, those are things where I feel like I'm in my career where that could probably help me a little bit, maybe with comfort and confidence go to the next level. But I think at the end of the day, as far as a stock class, don't see it happening. And electric might be what kind of evens things out a little bit in the future.
I see your point. I still think the biggest thing that the factories are going to have an advantage over is the batteries. And then they're going to have like some advanced form of traction control, which is going to be hard to compete with. So Johnny, I still
think about how easy that would be to monitor, though. Now you got an electric bike with an ECU that you control the entire power band. The AMA official can walk up to your bike right after, just plug in and say, "Oh, you had the wrong map. You're out of here."
True, but the question is, are they going to do that?
They could, and that's my point. I don't know if they will. Who knows? But yeah, they could, and it's a lot easier than tearing it down and ripping somebody's bike apart and measuring CCs and doing all the crap that they don't do now.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you've got a LiPo 3.4 5,000 in this thing. You shouldn't have that. Hey, Cheyenne, how do you feel about not having a clutch and shifting? Is it going to affect? I don't know. Is it just not going to be as fun to ride?
I have no clue. I haven't got to ride one yet. I've been itching to be able to give that, so I can't really say. You have to think it'll be a little bit easier in some ways because you're not like you come out of a quarter and you're not like, oh, am I in the right gear? Which, as you know, once you get to a certain level, you're kind of more off field and you are thinking about what gear you're in. So I think the electric bike would be easier in that sense because you're not even got to wonder. You just roll on the throttle and then there's power. So
I'll say this though, I rode the Alta quite a bit. Without a clutch, I ate shit. Like I came into the turn and I started, sometimes you climb the berm a little bit with that front wheel. You just grab the clutch, it drops right back, or you touch the front brake. With no clutch, I went for the clutch, no clutch, and I just cartwheeled. And then I came out of a turn on another section. It was right into like a tabletop. And on my bike, I would always grab a gear. I went for a gear and leg flew off. I'm like, Jesus. But I'm not near the caliber you are, but I had some struggles getting used to it.
So I'm not a clutch abuser. I mean, I've got a clutch on my bike from a cruise right now that's 26 hours on it, and it's still just fine. So I'm not a clutch abuser, but I do use my clutch in certain instances, and especially on Supercross through the whoops. I always ride everywhere with one finger on the clutch. And you can use your clutch a little bit in the whoops. And as you know, you can use it a little in turns and landing off of jumps as well. So I do depend on my clutch for certain things. So I think that would be a big thing to get used to, is not having that little bit there to pull in if you needed to, make an adjustment.
It would be kind of cool though. You won't ever have to shift up a couple times heading in the whoops. You just go in and you're in the right gear. Or the panic rev. You know how you run out of, if you panic rev, you can damn near do a backflip with those electric bikes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think by the time that goes full electric, my racing years and professionally will be done. So not something I don't think I got to worry about yet. But yeah, I think those are definitely going to be things that the future generation are going to have to get used to. But as you see, I mean, the future generation's already they're starting on 50 e-bikes. So it might not be such a big transition, but it's that time.
Well, and that's what I've been saying for the longest time. Those kids aren't going to grow up with the love of the sound and the smells like we have. They're going to look at it and be like, no, your bike sucks, man. It's really loud. I like mine. And that's what if you start them low, that's what happens. So.
Okay. Dumb deal. Like the biggest thing that I see with this stuff is not being able to hear the awareness. Sometimes when you have a Barsha coming in on the inside of you, you're going to get blocked past. You're not going to cut back down because you hear somebody right there. If you can't hear them, how do you think they're going to do that? Is there going to be lights on each handlebar that's almost like a sensor where somebody is there? I would just thinking of ways to make it happen. Or is it's going to emit some sort of a sound? Is the bike going to vibrate a little here? Like, what do you think? Do you think the sound is not that big of an issue? I think that's literally the biggest hurdle for electric bikes, amongst power delivery and batteries not lasting long.
That issue you're talking about, Johnny, won't be an issue when everyone's on it. It's an issue right now when some people are on gas and one's on electric because you can't hear it. But when they're all on electric, you'd be shocked.
You'll be able to be like, hey, get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, that you can yell, or the tires make a lot of noise. These chains are a hell of a lot noisier than I remember. There's a lot of noise that comes with it. It's not that cool, loud noise, but you do hear quite a bit. And with everyone being quiet, I just think it'd be a readjustment.
I know, but in a stadium though, where everyone is screaming, right? Maybe.
I think it won't be any good rider is aware of what's around them, right?
Yes.
I mean, so you're gonna feel, if you're coming into a corner and there's a guy coming up inside of it, you're just gonna feel that energy. So I think what you're probably getting at is like cross jumping issues. I think on the amateur level, maybe. Pro side, I don't think it's going to be such a big issue, because you got to remember that bike does make a little bit of a sound, and I think if somebody's close enough, you're still going to hear that little bit of wind up as you would. So I don't see that being a super big issue.
I like your opinion. I like your opinion, and I guess I will agree with you because yeah, I never even thought about it being when everyone's on it as well. And Cheyenne, make a good point, dude. Make a good point.
Well, when I first rode it, I couldn't believe, I forgot how much noise your tires make. They're loud, man. But I was like, oh yeah, but the tires alone, I was like, holy crap, So
okay. Outside person looking in, I guess more inside here. But the other thing when it comes to electric that we end up talking about is I'm like, hey, I'm stoked for it, because then it's like it's easier to be your own mechanic, because there's no cams, there's no rings, there's no moving gears that you have to work on. It's literally just I don't know, it's the electric motor, but a lot of people are going, hey, you've never tried to work on these little KTM E50s. They're a pain in the ass to work on. Cheyenne, do you think it's going to make it easier to be your own mechanic with an electric bike, or do you think it's probably going to stay the same?
I guess that depends at that time because I don't think there's really much you can do to it now, right? I mean, charge the battery, change your tires and stuff. I don't even, it sounds dumb. There's no air filter, I don't think either, right?
No, you don't need air.
Right. So yeah, in one sense, maybe. And that was something I kind of thought about too. Like, well, going electric, realistically, you ain't got to take a parts box with air filters, oil, this and that, where you might just be taking a generator and a couple tires and you get by like that.
Handlebars and extra set of wheels, maybe.
So, I mean, maybe, but then, what I feel sorry for is Twin Air, Bellray, these companies that oil, what happens to them now?
Yeah,
well,
that's
if they don't innovate, they're gonna go. I mean, but I guess it's a technology that's coming in, and if you're not a technology company, you're more of a hardware company where you're making pistons or something, huh? Yeah,
well,
I mean that is a big deal.
For me, the biggest thing about electric is it's going to open up riding areas. You just eliminated exhaust and sound, so now you can go indoors. Anyone with land can make a track. I just think that just going to open up a lot of riding areas. I don't know about you, Johnny, but I learned how to ride in a field across from our house. You just can't really do that in most urban areas anymore. But with electric bikes, it's going to open up so much more. And I think there'll be a much bigger market. So maybe Bellray focuses just on chain lube. There's going to be different things. Maybe they just focus on suspension fluid. They will have to innovate, but if there's a lot larger market to market to, then, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, time's going to tell, right?
100%. So good segue. Cheyenne, honest opinion on Jett letting Roczen by. Was it A, because he was scared to get passed by Roczen, B, he wanted to stick it to Chase, or C, he just wanted to give Roczen a hug that really meant nothing because the gift really didn't do anything?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and X out your last multiple choice and say that one's probably out. And you could have a point there. I mean, there could have been a little bit of both there. It could have been a little bit of F Chase in one wave, but maybe not. I personally think that Roczen was putting on a good ride, and they were doing the yo-yo thing. Well, Ken really reeled it back in, and I think maybe Jett wasn't comfortable going that pace. Maybe he was. I don't know. It's a weird thing. And again, maybe something could have been going on with his bike and he didn't want to say. Who freaking knows? Because he ain't going to tell us the real story, I don't think. My personal opinion is if there wasn't a bike issue, he should have raced his race. And Ken got him. And if he didn't, he did it. I think he was feeling some pressure.
See, I think he absolutely told us exactly what was happening. And I got to disagree with you, Cheyenne. I think he was 100% honest. I think he was genuinely trying to do the math. And he thought, if I let him, because in a two-moto format, like in outdoors, you get points in between. He knows Chase is the guy. He really thought he was actually doing something to help himself. But I mean, come on, man. Even if you are doing that, you gotta understand, you can't just pull over and wave. You gotta fake something, slow down, do like Marvin did and pop out of the rut. But those are things that he'll learn with time. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think he knew it was a rule that you couldn't do that.
I don't think anybody did, right?
I was well aware you can't do that.
Okay.
So.
See, that wasn't even something I do know that, in the riders meeting, they say, to and not as like a motivational thing, but they say, you need, when you're out there, because I mean, even if you're just rolling around, say you're in 20th getting lapped and you're just rolling everything, you'll get flagged off the track. So they do tell you got to be putting in an effort. If you're in 20th and you're getting lapped, but you're putting in effort, which pretty much, most guys are, they're cool with that. But if you're just out there rolling, lollygagging, they're going to flag you off. So they do have a point there of, being, hey, like you got to be giving it your best effort. You can't just I don't know, man. There's so many different ways to look at it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, when a guy comes in, you take him at his word. If he tells you he did it on purpose, then I guess he did it on purpose. So
I say I agree with you. And then
I mean,
if it happens again, then
yes.
you got to really be like, okay, what the fuck's going on here?
Well, and that's why I like that they did the punishment, but not really. It's just like a shot across the bow. Hey, just so you know, you can't do this. Everyone else, you can't do this, especially with Hunter coming into the class next year, because he loves to help Hunter. He was going to try and help Hunter at Paula, but they didn't give him the signal a year or two ago. So it's not like this is the first time that Jett has wanted to do something silly, but now he knows, okay. And if he does do it again and is obvious about it and comes in and says, oh yeah, I let Hunter by because I needed him to get the win. Guess what? You're getting penalized.
Well, but I think what was interesting about this one, Cheyenne, didn't mean to jump ahead of you here, is every other time we've seen something like this happen, like let Brock by, the Savachi and Tomac thing, the Marvin and Dungy thing, is it's always been essentially team orders. You're helping out a teammate. In this scenario, it could have been where, I mean, they weren't teammates. You're letting a competitor manufacturer buy, and you're honestly kind of hurting your own teammate in essence. I think that's the biggest narrative there. Like when Hunter comes in and he's on HRC Honda with Jett, if they're mixing and matching there, people are going to think it's more like team owners or team orders rather than the dynamic difference here is there was a different manufacturer involved.
Well, and the rule's almost impossible to enforce for all the things that Cheyenne said earlier. It could be the motor, you could be not comfortable, but the only way you really get caught is if you come in and admit it. Marvin never admitted it, so you can't really do anything. So,
well, finallyfast.com with the super chat. He says, as always, great content. Definitely feel like Jett didn't want to get past straight up, but made a rookie teenager mistake. Thank you, Finally Fast, for the donation. Look, it's Arizona. It's so hot here.
Oh, you suck, Johnny.
I know. What I was gonna say, I'm gonna fix the camera here. You guys can talk, but we're gonna give the donation to Cheyenne, dude. Since it's a small thing, but it's definitely you're the pro on the channel right now, so that $45 is donated to you, minus what YouTube takes.
Cheyenne or Amber Bracken?
Cheyenne. So
I'm kidding, dude. I'm just giving you crap because it says Amber Bracken.
iPad.
I know.
More professional set because I got my phone set up over here watching the chat.
Oh, I know. I'm just busting you, so yeah. It's all good.
So thank you for the donation.
So what? Now that he got that warning, Cheyenne, let's say he does it again and it's obvious, but he doesn't admit it. What happens?
Well, I think there's a fine given, right?
Fine or points?
Fine. I would say fine.
Yeah, because the fine's not nearly as bad. That's not going to hurt Jett like it would hurt Privateer.
I think it would go the warning, the fine, then points. Especially with what's on the line. If they took away, that would be. I don't think you would see points in this situation. Like, say you did it tomorrow, I think you would see a fine. And then you did it again next year, and you're going to see championship points taken.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't triple points, they may consider points, but triple points is just it's just too big of a punishment. And then what about Deegs? Deegs is heading into the LA Coliseum. He could ghost ride his first win, the same place his dad did. And this wasn't even a possibility a couple weeks ago. They weren't even racing there. It wasn't even on the schedule. What do you think? If he ghost rides it, what happens to him?
Same thing. He gets a fine or a warning or something, not to do it again. I'm sure AMA is very well aware of what could possibly happen along with their. I thought about this a long time ago before anybody started talking about it. I was like, dude, they're going to LA Coliseum. The kid's got a chance to win. They're like, it's destiny. It's got to happen. If it doesn't happen, I don't know. It's got to happen. I feel like AMA's got to know, and I'm sure they've already gone over there and said, hey, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. So if he's willing to accept the consequences, or maybe they said, hey, if you want to do it, we're cool with it, but you need to do it over here. I don't know, but if he wins, it's going to happen. And I'm willing to bet $100 bill that they have already went over there and said, we know what you're planning on doing. If you do it, you're getting $10,000 fine. And I guarantee you they're okay with that.
Dude, but how much money are they going to make from?
Oh, unless you're fining them 7 figures, just ghost it.
That's what I'm saying. And I mean, even if, hey, but okay, but let's just say they said, hey, 75,000 and he wins it, dude. I mean, he's winning $500,000 off of the purse. And then, dude, I'm sorry. Hey, AMA, if it's 75,000, he does that. I want to put in like a little fund over here for the privateers. We'd love to use it.
Well, and for what it will do to the sport, the AMA is going to be like, don't ever do that again. Don't ever do it again. Okay. Let's say thumbs
They're
up.
going to laugh.
Yes. That's what I say. Like, don't do it again.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Yes. Yeah. We
no,
don't endorse it.
It would be the most remixed TikTok, Instagram reel, YouTube highlight, all of it. If that was to
going to break the internet.
Yes.
I just hope it happens. Man, I hope it happens.
Dude, think about how much money, if he does it, off the t-shirt sales.
They've already started selling t-shirts.
That's what I'm saying. But imagine he does that and then they come out with
Oh my God.
Okay, Cooksey, question.
Yes.
Like what Bobby Piazza was doing in the pits where he was selling stuff and it was, hey, you can't do this because this is, Feld needs a cut of this stuff. And same thing with Jett Lawrence selling donuts. It wasn't okay for a lot of the other riders to do it, but then there was a couple. What do you think? It's just Deegan, they went through the proper channels to get approval to sell t-shirts?
Yes. And what I will say is those rules, and they're about to loosen up a lot for everybody. And there's going to be a lot more opportunities for the riders to sell. I don't know what I'm allowed to say about it, but I was told about some deals that are coming down the road that are going to kind of kick down that door and make it a lot more profitable for privateers to market themselves because of what somebody else is going to do. You'll see it next year when you see one of the big dogs really kind of changing the way the game's played.
Okay. It sounds like you're alluding to, I don't know, but it sounds like you're alluding to stuff that's more of like the little motivate, somewhat gambling type.
More merchandise
stuff.
Sales.
Well, we'll do what
prototype
YouTube
jerseys.
does, where YouTube takes 30% of the revenue of the AdSense stuff. I mean, that's all Feld or somebody needs to do.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with Feld is they'll put you on the t-shirts, but if the t-shirts don't sell, now they're caught up with it. That's a lot of the reason. Now they're kind of going to open it up from what I understand. And I don't know the details, there's a lot of different things that they've got to figure out, but they are going to try and let privateers bring their own stuff and figure out a way to sell it. So just give it a year or two. I think we're going to see a lot of change. So
Cheyenne, are you coming out with any merchandise?
Well, I'm actually wearing some right now. You can go to my website, CheyenneHarmon.com, to get some. It says got my logo over here. And this is my new race logo for this year, Cheyenne Harmon Racing. I got a camel hat, a black hat, a t-shirt right now that you can go buy on my website, CheyenneHarmon.com, if you want some. As far as at the races, I haven't talked too much with Feld about it yet and what that program is going to look like. So, but yeah, hopefully. And I did talk to them before, kind of about the process. So we are allowed to sell it if we go through those proper channels, but going through those proper channels do cost some money, right? So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. It's if you can sell enough of it, yeah, but then if you don't, you're losing money. So I haven't heard a ton.
Do you share to allude to more stuff? Is it more of like a take of a percentage on your sales, or is it, hey, if you want to do this, it's $1,000 up front for the year?
See, I think that's how it should be. I don't know exactly. The best way I always explain to it is when Metallica goes to AT&T Stadium, so to say, they have contracts for their merch and blah, blah, blah. There's just, it's every, basically everybody's got to get their hand in it somehow. And the way it is right now, I don't feel like it would be profitable for somebody like me, but where, Jett and Deegan and those guys, I mean, they've got the fallen where they can spend that money and they're gonna double it, triple it, whatever it may be. So yeah, it'd be great if they do loosen up a little bit on it, where there was maybe a one-time fee, like, hey, you pay blank
So it's an
amount
upfront fee, is what you're saying.
per venue, to my understanding. Per venue, it's a fee for each venue. To my understanding, is how I interpreted it when I was explained the way to do it.
So, for example, if you're going to A1, let's just say the Coliseum wants $1,000. So you give them $1,000. If you only sell $500, then you're out $500 pretty much.
That's the way I was explained. I could be messing this up or missing something, but
yeah, just say allegedly. If you say allegedly, you're all out as far as lawyers go. They're like, oh, he doesn't know for certain.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that's what I was explaining, is pretty much each venue has their own fee. They get their own percentage, so to say.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Oh, allegedly Johnny's transitioning to a woman, allegedly.
Oh, fuck you, Cooksey.
I said allegedly. You said I could pretty much say whatever I want if I say allegedly.
Yeah, but I can still say, F you, and I can still kick you out of the chat room.
Okay, fair enough. So,
the some of the shit that you say
Caitlin.
on your YouTube channel, man,
You talking about me?
Yeah, I'm talking about you.
What
some
do I
of the
say?
stuff.
What did I say?
No, just I'm not starting an argument here, but I mean, sometimes I'm like, Cooksey, I want to just, I don't know what I want to do.
Please tell me. I'm actually kind of curious. So,
sometimes I feel like, all right, if I'm being honest, Cooksey.
Be honest.
Here we go. Let's be honest. Let's get it out there.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, sometimes I feel some of your stuff is not everything. Some of it I feel like it was something where I've been there before, and I see you going through the same transition on stuff, but at the end of the day, like, it doesn't hurt anybody. So I'm indifferent about it. If that makes sense.
Wow, you sound like Carmichael. You just said like 7 things with nothing.
No, I didn't.
I didn't get the
your
point.
Stuff seems a little reaching, but then it seems a little bit more pessimistic on some things. And basically, I think sometimes it's a little bit over negative, and I think you could do a better job by not being as negative. But I've been there before.
To each their own. Can you give me a specific example of negativity that you probably went, well, that was a bit too far?
Your titles, I would say.
Well, the title's on purpose. I do that. That's called clickbait, Johnny.
Yeah, no, I know.
And I'm not going to stop
most of the time,
that.
as far as retention rise, people only remember your first impression on stuff.
But my retention's pretty good.
If
I could just get you to click on it, I think most people like it.
We got like a little lovers like cool on here, because
kind of.
I'll just.
Well, no, honestly, I'm just trying to help you out again. Like, you're getting big enough reach. Like, your numbers are big, and I feel like you'll get more bees with honey on some stuff. And as your influence gets better, I feel like you've got more of a responsibility to maybe not dig so bad. I guess that's what I'm saying, is I feel like you don't need to dig so hard about stuff. And maybe that's coming from somebody that I've changed my tune on a lot of stuff. And I can see that I've getting you to a scenario, because you're now all kind of stout out. Like,
my body language
Johnny,
just
meet
changed.
me in the back.
Sorry.
Meet me in the back.
It did.
Put some boxing gloves
I'll
on.
let it go. It's all good. I disagree though. I feel like I got to be who I am, Johnny, and I got a little edge to me. So
that's where I guess I'm saying, like, I'm indifferent.
Cheyenne?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that's what's got you where you are. I mean, that's why I started watching your stuff. I mean, you're kind of throwing it out there, and I like it. I mean, you're saying what a lot of people won't say, so that's why you get the following you're getting. So don't change nothing. I mean, obviously not everybody's gonna agree on everything all the time. I mean, there's certain things I've seen. I'm like, maybe I don't agree on it, but there's a lot of stuff like, that's pretty ballsy to throw out there. So I mean, I respect it. Keep doing what you're doing.
Well, and that's it, Johnny. And I'm not trying to go over the top or anything. I'm just trying to be me, and it's authentic. And maybe I am a little angry. Maybe I am a little jaded, and it comes out. But I'd rather do that than just be another fake dude on the internet. And I even look back at some of my stuff. And I go, yeah, what was I thinking there? Like, oh boy, that was off, or man, that was a little rough. But that's how I feel in the moment. And I'm gonna just let it fly. So it is what it is.
I respect it as long as you're being real, being you. I respect it for sure.
See, and I feel like if I was to be overly positive and nice, I don't think that's me. It'd be a little fake, man.
And you're pretty accurate on a lot of your stuff. Maybe not all of it, but I feel like you're talking from knowledge or a credible source or something. You're not just grabbing stuff out of the air. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Oh, by the way, Dylan is signing with Hep Suzuki. Just that's about 98% positive. So,
Cooksey, in all reality, just what Cheyenne is saying is everything that I've talked about as far as like the pool is big enough for everyone. The sea is it's big enough for all of us, dude. I don't even know where I'm going. I'm defending myself because you were telling me that I was turning into a woman. So I feel like I had to have something.
I was just
making
making
you.
I was making
the
it
biggest
allegedly.
thing I had to be was like,
oh, Johnny, I was kidding. I said allegedly, right?
Yeah.
With all due respect,
I'm still bitter about it. Fuck you. The guys in the chat room are all taking your side on everything too.
It's like on Talladega Nights when he says with all
yes.
My point is I think we're just growing something big enough to where it's hard for outside people to, dude, I want to see you do this 100% of the time where you don't need to have any other job. You can just do this full time and still be your 100% self. Right. And so all I was saying was a suggestion live as far as just tone it back a little bit is all, but that's my opinion. Like you said, you can tell me to go pound sand.
No, Johnny,
Okay.
I appreciate your opinion 100%. I take it and in the database and
moving on. Moving on.
With all due respect, Johnny, it's in the Geneva Convention. I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope people in here got the movie reference.
Oh yeah. Oh, FYI, somebody was asking about Gypsy Tales. Maybe that's why Gypsy won't have me on. Maybe I'm too negative. Johnny told him not to have me on.
No.
I think Gypsy Tales needs to have a privateer like me. Come on.
Yes, absolutely. I think they should.
Let's do it.
But somebody was asking why I wasn't if I was next.
I messaged him once a while back, but I don't even think he is.
Just keep doing it.
Same here. I did the same. Cheyenne crickets.
I don't even think
Ace is actually a really cool dude. So
I'm a big fan of his stuff. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, no, I love his stuff. I think he's cool. I would love to go in there just to freaking talk to him. He just seems like a cool guy.
Hey, Benjamin, it is not like talking to a brick because I actually take what Johnny says and I listen. And while I see his point, I see your point, Johnny. And it's not that I haven't heard that, but I just walk that line between authenticity, who I am, and not being a negative little Nancy.
No, the whole point is it's experience, right? It's perception versus reality is different. I've never been a part of a club, especially in this community. And so I'm just like, hey, I'm going to be more real and less negative about stuff because I feel better about myself. Cooksey, I feel if I'm putting myself in your shoes, you've been in the industry, you've had stuff happen, and now you've kind of been taken away. So it's like the gloves are off, right? And so I'm going, how do we mesh the two to be beneficial for both of us and stuff? Because I hear you drop my name on your videos every now and again. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, right? I've gotten a lot of association stuff with people are like, oh, fucking Cooksey and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I haven't said anything officially to you because I'm like, you're my friend and you can say whatever the fuck you want, So I'm not going to disassociate myself from you because our paths might be pointing at the same end goal, but we're just getting there by two different routes. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
No, it does. But I think I'm trying to go a different direction than where you're going. I'm actually on my way out of the industry. I don't want to be in the industry. I want to watch it from a distance. That's why I got my real estate license. That's why I took a job outside of the industry when Tucker folded. Like I understand I don't want to have those ties anymore. I want to be able to say what I want. It makes me happy to be able to say whatever I want and do what I think is best for this sport and for privateers like Cheyenne, who I think it's just such a bitch to make this career. And I hate when I see people get exploited. And then I also hate everyone shutting up about the exploitation.
100%. And I have no idea where the fuck this stuff is going. I just want it to grow enough to where we can collectively bring more guys in like Cheyenne, and we can start to give back more and make this own, not a rivalry, but it's like, hey, a seat at the table, right? That's the whole goal, is to give the little guy the seat at the table. That's my view on it here, Cheyenne. And so, guys, I do know everybody in the chat, like, I do know that it appears I am more of a pacifist publicly than I've ever been before, right? And that's my own choosing. But we can change the tune a little bit on
I'm sorry I said you were transitioning allegedly. Sorry, Johnny.
I forgive you. I'm brother.
Kidding. I was joking.
I still might punch you in the face next time I see you, and then I might have
Feel
to
free if you
off.
can reach if you can reach.
Cheyenne, you got me if we're taking Cooksey, I think together.
I'm just watching, man. I'm IDK. I just work here.
He's Herb Dean. He's the referee.
All right. Well, I was trying to make a joke to break the ice here, but
no,
I'm more about.
Where's Coach, man? I really miss Coach.
Dude, Coach would have. He would have just been sitting here doing this. So anyway. Yeah, the Zoom noise, guys. Cheyenne is in a restaurant for his buddy. What is the restaurant called again?
Tall Trellis Brew Co. in Kansas.
Definitely go down there, tell him that Cheyenne sent you, and you expect a discount.
Sure.
You might not get one, but you get a discount here. All right, Cheyenne, from a fan, a biased fan, who do you want to win? We'll start with the 250. It's basically a three-way battle between Joe, Hunter, and Deegan. What do you want to see?
I want to see Blue Crew, Deegan.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't cheer for Deegan right now. Even if you don't like Deegan, just to see that send, to see it go viral. You want to talk about the biggest thing in this sport that could something that could make Sports Center? Boom, there you go.
Are people going to be pissed if he doesn't?
No, absolutely not. It'll be a hell of an effort, a great rookie season. And, the haters are going to hate, but there's not that many anymore. I don't think in the Deegan, or at least it's turned a lot more positive. Even when he does something like kick the bike, I don't think it was that bad. But I love how he learned from that, though. Like, I don't know if many people saw where I've showed him pushing his own bike at Charlotte afterward. Like, he's a kid. He's learning, man. So
100%.
Who do you got, Johnny?
I mean, I'm pretty much right there. I want to see Deegan win it, just for the sheer sake of, I want to see him and his dad share something to where they both won a professional race, and then it being in that same Coliseum. Like, that's something that goes down in history. That's like a legacy type deal. So it's hard to bet against any of that come to fruition, in my opinion. So
I wouldn't mind seeing Joe win, though. I don't know why the overdog in me just doesn't want to see Hunter win again. I would like to see, Joe Schmoda, Mr. I get passed on the outside, actually get angry and protect it. I don't know. Have you noticed that, Cheyenne? Every time somebody goes on the outside of Joe, they just know they're not going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, it's almost, I don't even know what like the right saying would be there, but it's just like, is too nice?
Well, like if you go on the outside of Deegan,
maybe respect, but with a big, what is this? When you put salt on something?
Sprinkle
with a sprinkle of too niceness.
A sprinkle of this. I love you, Johnny. You're the best. So, no, Joe Schmoda, I think at some point he's going to have to make an example of somebody and just come hard so that they know, oh, maybe he will do it. Not that you have to ride that way all the time, but at some point you have to just kind of lay the smack down.
All right. Well, Triple Crown. It's kind of like a Triple Crown because there's 3 races. This is triple points. Cheyenne, I never got your opinion on at the beginning because I asked you too many effing questions when it came to the 2-moto format. Do you think that it exploits what happened, what Jett letting somebody buy, where they should go back to every moto has points up for grabs? And I mean, answer that real quick.
Yeah, I originally had thought it was every moto point counted. So yeah, I think it should be every moto point counts, I would say. I mean, outdoors, 2 motos, points count. Supercross, the main event, points count. Heat race doesn't, but heat race is also for your gate pick for the main event or qualifying the main event. So yeah, I think when there's main events on the track, those points should count.
Honestly, I think heat races wins should be like a bonus point too. Truthfully,
yeah, that's a whole other topic because then you get into like the MXGP qualifying race, winning that. It's just that's a whole other topic. But yeah, I mean, I think the 2 motos should both be towards the championship points.
okay.
Yeah, and I think if I could change to anything about that, that's all I would change about this super motocross. Because, dude, I'm sorry, this super motocross to me is the coolest thing that's happened to the sport in a long time. However, it happened because of World Supercross or whatever the reason, it's still the coolest thing to happen in a long time. I love the 3 rounds. I love the 2 motos. I would make it pay by moto, and I would make a full gate for that LCQ. Those are the only 2 changes that I would make.
Yes. Let some more people potentially get in to make some money for sure. Hey, I guess this is real random too. Cheyenne, what do you think about Faulkner being on a 250 and just constantly getting hurt? It was the whole Bubba phenomenon, whereas this kid that like felt like he couldn't lose and then got hurt and basically left for a little while, and then the sport evolved and he's never been able to come back, even though he's qualified the fastest a couple times this summer. What's your honest opinion on somebody like Faulkner?
And it's a bummer for him because, I mean, well, you go back to 2020 when, we had to do the COVID races in Salt Lake. I mean, he was in the final main event. All he had to do is finish was where he was and ended up hurting himself really bad. He lost the championship to Ferrandis, and he beat Jett straight up. I mean, dude, it sucks to see him get hurt because he's got the talent. He should have been a multi-time champion, probably already on a 450 already. Unfortunately, that's just the brutal part of our sport, right? Just you got a guy who was probably favored. If you would have gone 5 years ago and you put Jett, Chase, and Austin there, I'm picking Austin to be the next big thing that's going on right now. And so yeah, it's definitely a bummer for him. I know he's working with Rhino and they're trying to straighten out a few things, but at the end of the day, man, racing is just it's freaking gnarly what we do, man. And you just can't, there's certain things you just can't escape. So I hope his bad luck run is over. And I hope he's able to win him a championship that he's been working for. And I'd like to see him do that. I know him a little bit. I don't have his phone number, but years back we kind of lived in the same place for a short period of time, and see each other, say what's up. So I like him, and I hope he gets figured out.
Yeah, to me, it feels a little bit like the Canard thing, where it's like, man, it's unfortunate circumstances, right? Because there's the saying, as far as success meets when talent meets preparation, then you're ended up with success. And sometimes he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Unfortunately, I do know that he still has a 450 gig going. Cooksey, do you want to put in anything like that before we kind of end the show, wind down, and talk about who we think is going to win?
Do what?
So that was a lot of words there. I was saying, do you have anything to add about Faulkner?
No, I lost Faulkner. Sorry about that. I was reading comments there and kind of daydreaming. So my bad.
Why do we even have you on this show?
Good question. So
it's so that we can have awkward moments like we did about 20 minutes ago. All right, Cheyenne, or should I say Amber? Just kidding.
No, somebody already said in here, Bracken.
Yeah, I know. Words are. Did you know that communication is 7% words, 36% body language, and then it's 56% tone, right? So you actually get more out of your tone when you talk to somebody than fucking words. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is dumb, random knowledge, I guess I would say. Okay, where the fuck are we going? Who is going to win the Super Motocross Finals in the 450 class? Is it going to be a Suzuki or a Honda?
Who are you asking?
I'm going Roxon.
He's going Suzuki.
You know what? I want to say Roxon, and I'm also pumped that Dylan's going to that team. But I don't see him getting it done over Jett and Chase. And even if he gets it done over and wins the race, he's got to hope Jett gets in between them. So I don't know. I want Roxon. I'm going to have to go with Jett just because, I mean, he's good. I don't know what else to say. Johnny?
I'm going to have to go with Sexton. I think the reigning Supercross champ is going to get it done on a Supercross track.
You don't think Honda will sabotage him in his last ride to get the plate on Jett's bike? I'm kidding when I say that.
No, I don't. And I think it's going to be
even start that.
I think it's going to be a big FU to HRC Honda by winning it too. I think there's a lot of motivation behind that for sure. He's got something to prove. Jett really doesn't have anything to prove. Roxon has everything to gain, but I don't think he's going to risk what it's going to take to win the race because he's got a good contract with World Supercross, and that racing is coming up in October and November. So I would love to see Cheyenne. Sorry, say what?
Ken wants to win. He doesn't care about that. He wants to win. He's gonna put up.
Okay, even if his contract is stipulated on actually showing up at the rounds to make a couple $1 million.
Those guys ain't worried about money, you know. And now with what happened last weekend with him being, and dude, Ken rode good last weekend. Like that's probably some of the best we've seen him ride in a while. Maybe I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't. He rode really good. And then now with all the gift, dude, he's fired up. He wants to win. And I guarantee he's not. If I had to guess from a racing standpoint, he's not sitting there thinking, "Oh well, you know, I can ride it in for third, and I'm still getting paid $250,000 for." He wants to.
I love it. I love that, and I absolutely agree. I don't think it's for the money on any of those guys. I don't think anyone's hurting for money. It's about pride. It's about legacy, and I think to be the very first super motocross, or I like to call it SMX. I think supermoto sounds stupid. So, but to be the very first 450 SMX champion. Everyone's going to always talk about that. The first in a series is big. So I think it matters.
Suzuki since 2016. And this isn't even really, I would argue that it is pretty much a full blown 2016 RMZ 450 factory ride. Makita bike.
I got
progressive stuff.
I got one for you guys. Is this the biggest series of the season, Johnny? Is this bigger than Supercross? And Cheyenne, same question after Johnny goes.
I still think A1 is bigger than this. Truthfully, I think A1 still has bigger hype, and everyone that we've been waiting for something to happen. This being at the end of the series, people don't really know what they're getting yet. So I don't think, like we talked about this off air with the Chicago round, where that stadium was 47,000 seats, and it looked like there was less than a quarter that was actually filled in there, which makes you tell you how many people are really going to this race, even though it is at the LA Coliseum. Like there is quite a bit of hype. There's more money on the line. I still feel that A1 is still a bigger deal. Maybe next year, but not this year.
Cheyenne?
Yeah, I think I agree. A1's bigger hype in my opinion. I think the LA Coliseum adds where it's at, is adding some hype just because it hasn't been there in so long. But yeah, I think A1's probably more exciting from a fan aspect because your guys are switching brands and new gear, and you've been waiting to see who's going to come out swinging. So yeah, I mean, I would say I agree. I concur.
A fucking M. All right, Cooksey. What? You're not going to give us your opinion now? Come on.
I just said it was. I started off by saying I think it is the biggest race in the history. Like, I honestly believe that the Supermoto is going to be the big dog of them all. Maybe it's not
Supermoto,
right
Supermoto
now.
Cross.
SMX Series Championship is going to be the most coveted over Supercross and Motocross because they're essentially qualifiers now. And that's the big dog that combines them both.
Ben is saying every show has been sold out. Well, it was interesting on the broadcast. It did not look that way.
Yeah, they need to paper it a little bit better if they're going to do that. So,
all right. Well, the chat room is saying that it's a tie between Sexton. Oh, it's still a tie between Sexton and Jett at 36%. Ken is getting 26.
Okay, I just voted. There we go.
Yeah, I can't vote. I can't vote on my own damn poll.
You
fucking voted for Jett, didn't you?
Of course I did. That's what I said. So.
All right, guys. Well, we've gone a little bit over an hour. We didn't have Coach with us. So everyone, best wishes to Coach. I believe he's maybe taking knowing Coach, he's not taking a personal time whatsoever. But Cheyenne, dude, it's always an effing pleasure having you on board. You guys look for the socials. I've got the link in his description. If you want to contact him for some sponsorship opportunities, dude, power to the privateers. Is there anything you want to say, Cheyenne, before we let you get out of here?
No, yeah. Appreciate y'all having me on, and always enjoy doing stuff like this. It's fun. And yeah, if anybody wants any merch, CheyenneHarmon.com, hats, shirts, go get you some. Yeah, look forward to coming back on again, hopefully.
Love it, dude. I'm pumped for your program, Cheyenne. I'm excited to see you doing all the rounds, and hopefully you'll qualify for the biggest race in the history of ever, SMX.
Yeah,
for next year.
Next year, yes.
That's the goal. That's what we're working towards.
Nice. And you're in your athletic prime too at 27. You got till about 35, in my opinion, if you can, knock on wood, stay healthy. But Coach Robb, he'll dial you in right there.
Yep, we're working on it.
Hell yeah. Do you mind how long have you been working with Coach Robb?
I would say probably 8 weeks, if I had to guess.
Does he have you like in a building phase?
Yeah, kind of. I guess the best way is like a boot camp phase is how I would think. We're getting a lot of measurements and a lot of info to gather up and build in the base. I would say the last 2 weeks though. Last week, he had his heart attack, so he was down with that. And then this week, I've been under the weather for about a week now. So I've kind of been I've been, I stay in contact with him, but just doing very light cardio this week, trying to get over whatever respiratory sickness I'm dealing with right now. So but the first 6 weeks, yeah, we hit it hard.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Well, can you bop with me? I know it's kind of a dying thing on this channel, but we still fucking do it. Right?
I love Cheyenne's look when he said that. He's like, oh man, really?
It's going to have to be a stipulation if we're going on the show. It's like, hey, you got to look like an idiot by keeping a WFO. Okay.
Well, I like how Kenny Watson just hung up on us. So
yeah, that was pretty funny. So anyway, appreciate every single one of you. Subscribe to these mofos. Cooksey even has an MMA channel that he is promoting. Oh, he's bogging it out.
Oh, ECU just went out.
Fuck you, man. You gotta keep this thing W up. He's break checking us. Cheyenne, we're gonna speak in.
Rob B said that's negative, Johnny.
Do.